Bowser! You're approaching me? Mr. Dino! Oh, dangerous game, young man. Dangerous game. I'll be ranking them on the underometer. Will we have more underrated gems? Or will he have some overrated flops? I am Dr. Stupid Schmerz today. Dr. Doofenshmirtz, shut up.
I've talked a lot about Mario Kart tracks on this channel before,
So maybe it was Opera GX, wasn't it? Fucking volume control on that stupid browser. I'm glad I switched.
ranking them from every game, shameless plug by the way, but today I want to focus on something different, the most underrated tracks in the series.
Underrated,
When
huh?
I say underrated,
What do you mean?
don't just mean tracks that people think are bad. Well, I mean, that could be one factor, I guess. I'm talking more so about the ones that get overshadowed, overlooked, or just don't get nearly as much love as they deserve. So
I like that definition of, that's probably a definition of underrated I can agree with. I can agree with that. But now, again, you have to convince me that the tracks you pick, by the way, it's a 13-minute video. I have disabled the time bar because he chaptered them, so I don't want to like accidentally hover and accidentally spoil it for myself and for you. But we'll see how they rank up on the underometer. All right, we'll see.
with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I thought it would be fitting to start off this list with the starting track from
Mario Kart. Hang on.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Stadium.
Mario Kart Stadium. Underrated? I don't know. You've already started off on a pretty strange note there, young man. You have. Because in the context of Mario Kart 8, sure, it's a bit underrated. But in the context of starter tracks, I think that it rightfully gets the praise it deserves. I would say I would argue it's correctly rated, if you ask me. The only reason you would possibly say it's underrated is because it's a starter track, and most of the starter tracks just generally tend not to be talked about as much because they're starter tracks. But when you do talk about the starter tracks, is Mario Kart Stadium not top 1, top 2? For me, it's either this or GCN Luigi Circuit. Do you see what I mean? Like, so when the topic of competition does come up, it always gets talked about. Do you see what I mean? But listen, you can convince me.
Now here's the thing, starter tracks in Mario Kart serve a very different purpose than most other courses. They need to introduce core mechanics effectively while still being simple enough not to overwhelm new players. And in Mario Kart 8's case, there was one very important new mechanic that Nintendo needed to get right, anti-gravity. This was a bizarre addition at the time, and Nintendo had to win players over immediately. Thankfully, Mario Kart Stadium nails it. It uses just enough anti-gravity to change up the feel of a classic circuit without making it too chaotic or disorienting. The track layout flows perfectly, keeping the race engaging while subtly reinforcing the new mechanic. But even beyond the tutorial aspect, this track is just fun to drive on. You've got a few well-placed shortcuts that reward skillful maneuvering and a glider section at the end that makes for some intense finishes. And I mean, for what's essentially a basic stadium course, the visuals are incredibly polished. It's got all the elements of a great track, yet somehow it rarely gets talked about, at least from my perception. But hey, maybe it's because it shares the Mario Circuit name with so many other tracks that people tend to overlook, which brings us to our next
hang on. Yeah, I would say, yeah, of course, relative to starter tracks, relatively speaking, just don't get talked about as much. I don't think it's fair to call a track underrated, but because of its natural status. Does that make sense? Like, of course, starter tracks are going to be talked about not as much, just general, because they're generally not as interesting to someone playing Mario Kart quite regular. You're generally more interested in the Leaf Lightning, the Star Special, right? So, but when those conversations do happen, does it get brought up? That's what you want to ask yourself. And I would say, in the conversation of starter tracks, I don't think you can have a conversation about them without Mario Kart Stadium, because it's that good. Like, for example, let's say you said that, I don't know, like Wii Luigi Circuit was underrated. Maybe a bit more understandable, because when people talk about starter tracks, barely anyone's talking about Wii Luigi Circuit. You know what I mean? Maybe you could get with that, but in terms of this, I don't know. You're not buying me. You know, I'm blind because I'm not seeing what you're saying. I'm not seeing what you're saying, brother. I'm not seeing what you're saying. I'm definitely not seeing it. You're ranking low on the underometer so far. I'll tell you that much.
underrated pick, DS Mario Circuit.
DS Mario Circuit? Is it an underrated? I'll hear him out first before I offer my own take. Hang on. DS Mario Circuit, huh?
Now, I'm specifically talking about the remake of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not because I think the original on DS was bad or anything, but because in the context of that game,
If anything, I would say the better argument for underrated would have been the DS one. In the booster course bars, I would say it's kind of correctly rated. And maybe it got a bit too much hate. I would say overhated, maybe. Underrated though, I don't know. In the original game, I'd give it to you if you said in the original game was underrated, because it's a solid track. It's just it doesn't really hit the same thematic highs as say your Airship Fortresses, your Peach Gardens, your Rainbow Road. Do you know what I mean? So when you say, and again, you're talking about circuits as well, that generally just as a whole don't get talked about because they're circuits. So you gotta like meet it relative to its place. Does that make sense? You know, I'm just like, I don't know. We're cooking. This is the best Mario Circuit. It deserves its spot in the booster course bars. I'll let him cook. Let him cook.
I don't think that the track was really underrated. It was just another Mario circuit, but in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, damn, I like this track. This is actually a pretty challenging circuit track, especially on 200cc, which is something that I really respect. I think that a big reason why a lot of people overlook this track is just because of the overwhelming amount of circuit tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but in my humble opinion, this is one of the best ones in the whole game. Just look at the forest section with the wiggler that they added. This wasn't in the original DS version, and it gives the track a lot more character. It's no longer just a generic Mario circuit, now it has distinct obstacles and a more memorable setting. And then there's the final turn, which is one of the hardest in the game to take at full speed, especially on 200cc. This is a track where good driving actually matters. You need precise drifting, good use of braking, and some serious control if you want to master it. Yet despite all these improvements, it's still often written off as just another Mario circuit to so many people, which is really a shame. But speaking of Mario...
Oh, he's going to transition us. Do you know, I think you made a compelling case. I will say that. I think you made a compelling case that in a booster course pass that was just full of tracks that were either circuits or glorified circuits, I would say I could understand this not getting talked about maybe as much as it deserves, especially with those U's at the end. Those U-turns at the end are somewhat satisfying. Give me some Neo Bowser City feels. Do you know what? Where is it? I see what you're saying. I don't think I 100% agree. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So you're 1 for 1 on the Under Armour at the moment. I'll give it that to you. I'll give it to you, Mr. Dean. You're 1 for 1 right now.
DS
you
tracks,
scored an equalizer.
Let's talk about one that literally tries to burn you alive. That being Desert Hills. This is a...
Desert Hills, though. In the context of Wii, I don't think it's that underrated. Maybe overheated, but I don't think it's underrated. I think easily Desert Hills' greatest asset is the shortcut opportunities. But in a game full of shortcut opportunities, Desert Hills doesn't really stand out. And in this original DS one, I don't know, it doesn't, since the items aren't as like horribly unbalanced as they are in Wii, it probably stands out a lot less. You probably get less of a chance to do the like shortcut chicanery. So I'm just like, underrated though? I'd say it's perfectly rated in that it's kind of shit. But convince me, you plead your case.
Track that we've seen in both Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart Wii, and honestly, both versions are basically...
If he says it's got SMB3 references, therefore, I'll give 5 memberships.
The same, so I'll just use the original to illustrate my points. Now, I'll admit, I used to be one of those people who thought that this track was miserable. I thought it was frustrating to...
Oh no, you used to be one of the good ones, and now you've converted. Unbelievable.
Drive on, the fireballs were obnoxious, and that winding turn section at the end was just a nightmare to get through. But you know what? I've matured. I can now...
I've matured? Oh, so I haven't, yeah, Mr. Dean? You know what? I'm Sir Musty. You're just a mister, okay? That's Sir to you, all right? Stay humble, huh? Stay humble, huh? Come on now. Unbelievable. I don't want to like Desert Hills, but because of that. Get down from there, chat. I don't want to like Desert Hills because the shortcuts are a lot of fun to take, but the Slippery Road and Wii and DS are just more annoying than a good challenge. Yeah, it's just... Again, the shortcuts are its best asset, but it doesn't really have that in uniqueness to it, you know? If Desert Hills were... Like, even... it's one thing I give Dry Desert, because, like, Dry Desert has like in some really cool shortcut opportunities. I think if anything, I would say Dry Desert in 8 is underrated. I'd give that the underrated status because in a game that doesn't really have a lot of shortcut opportunities, being able to cut through a load of sand is actually quite cool. And I think a lot of people poo-poo all the changes when I think some of them were for the worst, but some of them were quite cool as well. Like the Oasis section. People seem to sleep on the Oasis section. Dry Desert, I would say in 8 is the underrated desert track. Maybe not so much Desert Hills.
Confidently say that this is not one of the worst Mario Kart DS tracks, and in fact I'd argue it's actually underrated. I wouldn't go as far as to call it one of the best, but I think the overwhelming negative perception makes it a perfect pick for this list. If you just play this track casually, then I mean, yeah, I can kind of see why you wouldn't like it, but if you learn—
Oh, hang on. But if you play this track competitively, if you play it competitively gamers, yes, if you play it on a higher level,
how to really control your vehicle in Mario Kart DS, then this track becomes so much more fun.
Snaking.
Those winding turns at the end go from feeling like a struggle to being an exhilarating sequence of tight mini turbos strung together one after another. Instead of slowing down and carefully navigating them, you can drift, boost, and chain together satisfying turns at high speed, and suddenly it's a completely different experience. The Angry Sun—
I don't know, even if we go by, what's it, like, you know how it has that, like, U section? Even if we go by U section standards, I would say Mario Circuit does it better. I don't know. I just don't really like that. That section is fun to skip, but I wouldn't really say it's that fun to do, personally, but...
ripped straight from the 2D Mario games is also a great addition. The Angry Sun, ripped straight from the 2D Mario games, is also a great addition that gives the track some much needed personality.
SMB free reference, therefore, huh? Therefore, does that count, gamers? Does that? Are we VAR checking that? Is that references mentioned? I don't know, gamers. I don't know. Are we going gambling? I don't know. You know what? This casino's broken. Casino's broken, gamers. Casino's broken. That doesn't count. He didn't gluck it, gamers. He didn't gluck it. But you know what? There's a angry mob at the door. So to satiate all you gambling addicts, gamer. SMB free mentioned, therefore, means 5 gifted memberships. So gamers, who is going to be the lucky people today? Allow me to gift 5 now and see who are the lucky contenders on this Sir Musty gambling session. There's the announcement in the chat. Who is going to get them today? It goes Egbert Milton, Tyflo Zeitz, Lucas Games, Chef in a Bottle, and Mystic Mushroom. Come on down and collect your earlier videos and fancy green name. If you lost, then dang it to you. And until next time, sayonara.
It's not just another desert track, it's actively out to get you, and I think that that's a fun touch. And one of my favorite things in a good Mario Kart track is shortcuts, and thankfully this track actually has some solid ones.
Oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day today, isn't it? Oh shit. Should I be wearing some green? Do I even have any green? I mean, it's gonna get green screened out if I buy some green.
Well, if I had to pick my favorite version of this track, I'd probably go with the Mario Kart Wii iteration just because of how well it works with inside drifting. But when looking at how it stacks up in its original game, I think it's even more underrated in Mario Kart DS simply because it's so much more overlooked in favor of the other tracks from that game. But while this track might feel like—
I mean, it definitely is overlooked, but for good reason. Like, I don't think so. For me, it's like, if it doesn't get talked about a lot, but because it's shit, I don't want to classify that as underrated. Like, Mario Circuit gets overlooked, and when you look at the track for what it is, it's the toughest circuit course, has some really satisfying turns. That Wiggler section looks kind of cool. I'm like, hey, do you know what? There's things to like. But this is like, yeah, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but rightfully so. It's shit. Like, other desert tracks have done the theme better. Other desert tracks have done shortcut opportunities better. I would say Dry Desert. And other desert tracks are just fucking way cooler. Like, have taken the concept and like evolved it, like Shy Guy Bazaar. So I'm just like, what do you mean? Of course it doesn't get looked at because it's shit.
like a scorched, sunburned wasteland, we have a newer desert that isn't overlooked.
I would say, yeah, you didn't sell me on this one. I'll be real with you. You didn't sell me. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's an overrated flop. Not only is it's not an underrated gem, it's the opposite. It's an overrated flop. Yeah, you're 2 for 1, brother. You're 2 for 1. You gotta win me back.
rather outright hated by many. Yup, let's talk about
If it's Bone Dry Dunes, okay, Bone Dry. You know what?
Bone Dry Dunes from Mario Kart 8. This is probably the track that I've been the most vocal about over the years, and my opinion hasn't changed.
Let's just spoil this right away. I've always said it that Bone Dry Dunes gets a lot of hate because it's in the wrong game. Honestly, it's just in the wrong game. It is actually an underrated gem. It is actually an underrated gem, 100%. Even for me, the reason I don't really like it too much is because, again, the quality around it is just so much higher that it like gets underlooked, even though it's pretty solid. The only section I could see you going no is maybe, you know, that you know how there's like two paths, but like there's like a correct path, so to speak. That's a bit kind of lame. Getting to the other upper sections kind of a bit chicanerous too, but overall I think it definitely does get way more hate than its quality would suggest. Definitely
Changed one bit. I
it looks
still
fantastic.
love this track, and I think it deserves way more appreciation.
True.
First off, the music absolutely slaps.
True.
It's got this rugged outlaw energy with acoustic guitars and pounding percussion that make the whole race feel like you're speeding through a lawless wasteland or something. It's raw, intense, and perfectly matches the chaotic feel of the course. And that chaos, it's what makes this track so good. A lot of people don't like how bumpy and uneven it is, but I think that's exactly why it stands out. And if 150 is wild, 200cc is completely unhinged. The extra speed amplifies everything, making the bumps even harder to predict and the turns even riskier.
The Bone Dry situation is crazy.
Maybe it's just because I don't play competitively. Actually, yeah, that probably is why. But I love how unpredictable this track feels. On top,
what, second competitive mention, gamers, has hit the Mr. Dean video, huh? Competitive twice. 3 strikes and you're out, brother.
of all of that,
3
the
strikes and
skeleton
you're
theme is
out.
just cool. You get to
Not in
drive
this
through
house.
a gigantic dry
Not in this
Bowser
house.
monster.
If anything, I gatekeep casualness. That's what I do in this stream. I am the ultimate defender of casual Mario Kart fans, casual Smash fans, casual Pokemon. I am the final boss of casual gamers. Your comp will not get past me, brother. No chance.
Piranha plants snapping at you. It's just awesome. It makes the track feel ancient, almost cursed, like you're racing through the ruins of something long forgotten. So between the killer music, chaotic design, and the awesome skeletal aesthetic, I really think that this track deserves more love. But while this track throws you into an unpredictable desert wasteland, my next pick throws you into the middle of something even more terrifying.
Which is?
Driving downtown.
Oh, no. There's no chance. Absolutely. I'm immediately, chat. I'm making the very easy decision to immediately slap this in overrated flop. There is no... Mushroom Bridge, I will hear you out. Mushroom City? No chance. Absolutely zero chance. When it comes to, like, because in any conversation, Mushroom City gets mentioned. If you're having a conversation about remade tracks that, like, need to come back, Mushroom City always gets a mention. If we're talking, like, predictions for Mario Kart 9 Retros, Mushroom City always gets mentioned. If we're talking about the good ones in Double Dash, Mushroom City always gets mentioned. So, again, does it get talked about as much as it probably should? Maybe. But in any conversation you have that could be involved with Mushroom City, it will always get talked about. As a result, I have made the easy determination to conclude that you are wrong, Mr. Dean. It is, in fact, correctly rated in that everyone actually really likes it. How are you going to convince us, though? I don't think you are. Well, how are you going to convince us?
Town at night. Yup, let's talk about Mushroom City. Mushroom City is one of those head-scratching cases where a track has never really been brought back since Double Dash, and honestly, that just irritates me. Out of all the city-based tracks in a series, this one really gets overlooked a lot, and I think it deserves way more attention.
No. Where are you going, brother? Where are you going? Like, if anything, one of the things that's, like, relatively unique to it, before Tor, should I say, is like, yeah, there's multiple pathways, you know what I mean? Like, and even Tor doesn't quite do it the same way as this, so... No, I don't see it. I'm gonna be real with you, brother. I don't see it.
The main reason I'm calling this one underrated is because I always see people talking about Mushroom Bridge.
Where have you been, bro?
Wait.
Where have you been? If anything, it's... Chat, okay, you gotta help me. Chat, you gotta help me. Maybe it's just me. Help me, please. Every single time I see the mushrooms get mentioned, it's always city instead of bridge. I would argue that bridge is the underrated gem. I would argue. Maybe I'm not fully convinced. I would argue. Because whenever Double Dash gets brought up, city tends to get more of the praise because it's just a better bridge. Whenever DS gets talked about, Mushroom Bridge tends to get poo-pooed because it doesn't have the cool shortcuts. I mean, if you're talking about Tor, I don't really see a lot of people talking up like the bridge, like Mushroom Bridge version of Mushroom Bridge in Tor. Scuff the sentence, but you know what I mean. No one talks about like Mushroom Bridge in relation to Tor. I don't really see. I'm not seeing a lot of that conversation. So I'm just like, if anything, I would argue that bridge doesn't get talked about relative to how many times it's been brought back. With City, because it's not been brought back, it always gets put in the conversation. You know, I'm like, there's no way. The only people talk about Mushroom Bridge more than Season 2. That's true. I'm right. I don't know what part of the internet you're in. Like, I'm genuinely curious. Now, Grant, I'm not as plugged into Mario Kart discourse maybe as some of you guys are, but it's the reverse. It's the absolute reverse for me, brother. Dean, where have you been?
And while I
where
do
have you been,
like
Dean?
Mushroom Bridge a lot, there are times where I actually prefer Mushroom City over it. It really just depends on the mood that I'm in. While Mushroom Bridge is bright, open, and straightforward, Mushroom City contrasts that with a darker, more chaotic downtown vibe. Instead of being linear, the track gives you multiple paths, allowing for more interactive racing strategies. And of course, you have to deal with dodging traffic too, which just makes it even more insane. And probably my favorite part of the track is that final straightaway leading into the finish line.
I do like that bit.
How crazy it is with the hole in the middle of the road too. Now it's time to make Mushroom City look like complete child's play because holy shit.
There's no way. There's no way. Hang on.
Moonview Highway.
No, you're insane. This man has lost me. This man has This is insane. No, absolutely no. No. This is. Delete the video. Delete the video. Bin the video. I'm sending goons to your house right now. My hired goons, my hired guards are gonna come to your house and are gonna rip you. They're gonna take you in a straitjacket, brother. What is happening? What is happening here? That is unbelievable behavior. Anytime I see we get talked about, anytime, it's this fucking track, bro. What are we talking about? Brother man. I don't think I'll be as far as to say, gamers, I don't think there is a single nitro. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a single nitro in Wii that is underrated. I don't think so. And the ones that don't get talked about is because they're shit, like Wii Luigi Circuit and Mario Circuit, right? The other 14 tracks, can you find me one that you could genuinely make the argument for underrated? I don't think so, because a lot of the nitros in the game are fantastic. So, and all of them rightfully get talked about quite a bit. I don't think you can put a single Wii track in here. Moon Meadows, yeah, Moon Meadows. If you're reaching, maybe. But even then, I'd say no chance. Like in 8, everyone loves it as a starter in 8 as well. So no, Dry Ruins. I wouldn't even say Dry Ruins. No, I'm not giving you Dry Ruins neither. Maybe. Again, that's a stretch. But even then, whenever people want to talk about like ones they want to come back, it's always Dry Ruins. Everyone, it gets like the award of like best desert track. It's that all bizarre, isn't it? No chance. Daisy Circuit. Mods. 10 seconds of Alex Yard. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Focusing on the original Mario Kart Wii version here because I think it exemplifies everything I love about the track more than the remake does, though I'll give credit where credit is due, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version has its own strengths. This track is absolute chaos. It demands practice just to understand the flow of traffic, let alone navigate it at a high speed without getting obliterated. Unlike a lot of other traffic tracks, where hazards are a bit more predictable, Moonview Highway constantly forces you to react.
Yeah, and that's why it sucks.
Cars follow different routes, move at varying speeds, and just overall keep you on your toes.
It's too much!
And that's what makes it so much fun.
You're
always balancing risk and reward. Do you take turns tight, knowing full well that you might slam headfirst into a truck? Or do you take the wider, safer approach, giving yourself more time to react?
You're always going to take the safer path, because there's too much! Thank you so much.
There are people the wrong side of the flight lol, likes Moonview Shitway.
True! The Dono agreed with me, therefore good Dono. Thank you so much, Saul. Thank you. Dono agrees, therefore good. Dono agrees, therefore heart. Okay, there we go.
Losing a bit of speed. It creates a natural tension that few other Mario Kart tracks manage to replicate. And let's talk about the setting because it's gorgeous. The neon city lights bring so much
Not in fucking Wii, that's for damn sure. Are you kidding me? This shit looks ugly, my fella. There is like, I think like DK Summit and like Wii Rainbow Road are like the only ones that look good in that game. Like I love the nitros. The nitros are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They look uggo, brother. I'll be honest with you. They look, brother. This is a paper bag. This is a paper bag type of deal. You know what I'm saying? This is a fucking pretend you don't look at it sort of vibe. You know what I mean? This is a one night goodbye type deal. You know what I'm saying, brother? You are not catching me walking with this bitch down the street, brother. That's what it is. Uggo. It's uggo, brother.
Atmosphere.
You're
Creating this
nostalgic
beautiful
bubbles. You're
contrast
seeing
between
Rose,
urban
brother.
utopia and, well, imminent death via bomb car. It's visually stunning, mechanically engaging, and one of the most demanding tracks in the entire series. It's a track that rewards precision and finesse, yet still manages to be ridiculously fun even when you're completely screwing up. And for that, it
No, it's the opposite. It is like easily the least fun stage when you get hit, because the knockback in this game is unreal. You get crushed, you get hit, you get knocked. Nah, brother, this stage ass, bro. The 8 Deluxe version is better.
absolutely deserves to be considered one of the most underrated.
No, hang on. Banshee? Hang on.
Let's talk about Banshee Boardwalk.
Banshee Boardwalk. I'm willing to hear you out. I'll put you in the for now. Convince me. Convince me.
Sure, it was brought back
Because if you've asked me again, in 64 probably doesn't get talked about as much. If anything, it gets talked about for it's a special cup track. Doesn't really feel like it belongs there. In DS, I guess it gets talked about a bit because it's like one of the few actually good retros in that game relative to the rest of the chicanery in that game. And it doesn't really get, other than that, I don't really see it get talked about. Like, ghost themed tracks aren't really that highly rated amongst people in the series as a whole, if that makes sense. So if we're talking ghost themed tracks or boardwalk related tracks, I suppose you're talking about Banshee Boardwalk more than you're talking about like Broken Pier, maybe because of the N64 Andes. Oh no, I'd be convinced. Convince me, brother.
in Mario Kart DS, but I can only imagine how insane this could be with modern track design. But for now, we still have the original in Mario Kart 64, and honestly, it's still one of my favorites in that game. One of the biggest reasons I love this track is the music. Out of all this,
We can confirm, gamers. Mr. Dean has no ears. Can we get some Fs in the chat for Mr. Dean's ears? Can we, please? Can we? Because that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Of all the things you could have used as your argument, the music, brother. Really, the music. You're killing me, brother, man. You're actually you're killing me. You're stabbing me in the back, Mr. Dean. At 2 Dean. Hang on, just to remind everyone, real quick. Let's have a very quick listen, shall we? This, gamers, the music. That fucking nails on a chalkboard. I don't know what the fuck that sound is. That fucking brush on a hardwood floor. I don't know what it is. No chance. I love the music. The marimba's unselling. Hey, Daniel Dumb. Where's Matthew Smart, huh? Where's Matthew Smart? Where is he?
spooky Mario Kart tracks, this is probably my favorite soundtrack. It's got this unsettling, up-tempo energy, almost like it's...
Oh, he said the same. Oh, you wrote the script for it, did you, Matthew Smart? He said unsettling as well. Well, you guys all singing from the same hymn sheet? Is that what it is? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Panic. Like
typical lightweight Gen Z internet.
Is watching you. It has this skin-crawling quality that perfectly matches the eerie, isolated atmosphere of the track. And speaking of that atmosphere, this track is genuinely creepy. Unlike other ghost-themed tracks that lean into cartoony, haunted house vibes, Banshee Boardwalk feels more desolate and unsettling.
That is true. I think it's owed to the 64 limitations. I will give it that. It's the same reason I like N64's Bowser Castle too. Creepy if you're five. No, I agree. I actually do agree. Because, like, again, it's just like pitch black nothingness, you know? And that's what makes it scary. It's like literally just nothing out there. Same with N64 BC's one. I think I liked it. So fair. Still not being the allegations, though. Still not being the allegations.
You're racing on this rickety wooden boardwalk surrounded by pitch black water and dim lighting. The whole thing just feels abandoned, almost like you shouldn't even be here. And if that wasn't enough, this track is tough. Huge chunks of it have no...
No. Absolutely not. I disagree. If anything, hang on. I'll need to refresh my memory. If anything, the one reason I was kind of disappointed in Banshee Boardwalk is that it's a Special Cup track that has like way too many guardrails. Hang on, let me familiarize myself with 64's Special Cup before I nail down this take quite hard. I remember being disappointed because, like, relative to the other tracks that surrounded it, it was like too. Yeah, look, you literally just got back from Yoshi Valley, which I'd say was much harder to stay on, right? DK's Jungle Parkway had those those off-screen fucking natives, you know. So like these two were like tougher to stay on, if that makes sense. This one has like literally one section where like there's no guardrails protecting you. It's like this double turn. My mouse is gone, so I can't point out to it. Maybe I could point it to it on the map. There's like this one bit where like you do a double turn. Oh, this bit here. You see this bit on the map? Let me make it big. Let me make it bigly. Let me get bigly. Yeah, this section right here where my mouse is, like you do two quick sharp mini turns. That's the only bit that has like zero guardrails, and that turn can fuck you up. But the rest of it, not really. Honestly, absolutely not really. And obviously, Rainbow Roads are disappointing for mankind. So yeah, I thought, relatively speaking, by Special Cup standards, this was like a moderate step down that I wasn't big on. I absolutely wasn't big on. This was tough. This got tougher, and then this kind of like eased up the gas a bit too much for me. Yoshi Valley versus Banshee in terms of difficulty.
Listen, kid, I think you'd be more comfortable over at that place.
Weenie Hut Juniors? Are you saying I belong at Weenie Hut Juniors?
Oh no, sorry. I was actually pointing to the place next to it.
Super
Weenie Hut Juniors.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alfonso. This is super hot. This is super hot weenie junior. Brother, I'll be honest with you.
Guardrails, and the narrow layout makes it so easy to fall off, especially when items.
Yeah, so easy. Look, brother, look at my guardrails. Look at my guardrails, brother. Look at my guardrails. I'm going to jail. Look at my guardrails. I'm going to jail. DK Jungle Parkway is definitely easier, though. I wouldn't say so. I think the fact that you cannot go off stage without being pelted, I think makes going off stage when you don't intend to a much bigger punishment. I would say so. Like, technically, if you fall off, I suppose there's a much bigger penalty. But there's more instances where you can go off-road and fail that penalty in DK Jungle Parkway than you could in Banshee Boardwalk. Like, look how many guardrails there are, and look how wide it is too. Do you know what I mean?
It have no
brother, look at this.
guardrails and the narrow layout.
Look, even this turn, even the turns that could really cause you some difficulty. Look, guardrails all around, literally.
It makes it so easy to fall off, especially when
Look, right there. Look, his footage. The power of editing wins the day, gamers. Right there. Zoom and enhance. Zoom and enhance. Right there. If there was no guardrails there, he would have fallen off. But lo and behold, boom. Guardrails. Yeah, easy to fall off. Easy, Mr. Dean. Even Biff Weed did a better job than this. Biff Weed, when he was saying the track was hard, at least show that double turn that I showed you guys earlier. At least he was gaslighting all of you guys. You did a poor job, Mr. Dean. Poor form, Mr. Dean.
Are flying. It's less forgiving than most Mario Kart tracks, which I do
Look at the guardrails.
kind of like. I also just love the concept.
Look, he got bumped again. He got bumped again, gamers. He is making my argument for me. He would have fallen off there if there was no guardrail. Look, are you not sold? Are you not entertained, gamers? Are you not entertained? What is happening here?
A spooky water-themed track in general. It's not just another
Is he gonna do it
haunted
again?
mansion or
Is he gonna do it
graveyard.
again?
It's a decaying, isolated boardwalk, and that setting alone makes it one of the most unique horror-themed tracks
One more time
in the
for me?
series. Another
Again, like, oh, good lord, what is happening in here? Game on. No. No chance, brother, no chance. Firstly, Banshee, I'm not convinced. I'm blind. Secondly, Shipyard? Hang on, just to make it clear for you guys, the Big 25. The Big 25. The Big 25. So, again, if this was maybe 5 years ago, yeah, I would say 7 as a whole was an underrated game, especially this track. This track barely got talked about way back when, as far as I'm concerned. In the modern day, though, if anyone talks about 7, they're talking about Shipyard. That's just a fact. It's like one of the good ones that just hasn't been given the time of day. This, the Woohoo Loops. I don't think you're convincing me, brother. You might be. I'm still opening myself up to the possibility that I can be convinced. But in the large 25, I see this one get talked about a fair bit. Chat, you can help me if I'm being a bit too chicanerous. I think this one gets talked about a fair bit. I think it's only here because it's not in deluxe. I think so too. I'm saying I'm blind for now, although I can be shifted. This one I can be shifted, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think so.
water-themed track that I've always deemed as underrated is Wario Shipyard.
Always? Yeah, again, so did I. But in the modern day, I think a lot of people talk about this one.
from Mario Kart 7. In fact, this is another somewhat spooky one, although maybe not to the same extent that Banshee Boardwalk went for. This one really just comes—
Also, odd editing choice of having PP Slides music when you're talking about Shipyard. Very bit strange, but doesn't
down
distract.
to the atmosphere though. Driving through this dilapidated ship is so much fun. And then there's the track design itself. Every turn flows incredibly well, and there's this one specific turn about halfway through, right when you exit the underwater section, that just feels insanely smooth. I don't really know exactly how to explain it. I guess it's kind of like the Mario Kart version of a massage. I also just find it interesting in general that a dark track like this is given its theming to Wario, where normally his tracks are loud and exciting. Overall though, really fun track that I still have a lot of fun racing on.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Oh, don't. What is happening here? What is going on? Like, firstly, yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm blind. Dry Desert. Now, in all fairness, if you were gonna pick a Wii track, maybe this is the one you go for. No. It's just not happening. I'm looking at. Let's look at the Wii tracks real quick right here. Let's just look at them real quick. Moon Meadows, no. Mushroom Gorge, no. Toad's Factory, no. Again, Mario Circuit and Luigi Circuit, I'm not counting because people think they suck, so of course they're not going to be underrated. They're shit. Coconut Mall, nope. Summit, no. Goldmine, no. Daisy Circuit, nope. Cope, nope. Treeway, nope. Grumble Volcano, nope. Ruins, Castle, nope. Nope. None of that. I'm standing on business, chat. I don't think you can unironically say that any of the Wii Nitros are underrated. Absolutely none of them. And I'm putting Dry Ruins here as well. I'm putting it here. Like this, when people talk about desert tracks, this is the one that gets talked about. This and Bazaar. And then when we talk about, even in the context of Wii, I think this one gets a fair amount of praise. The Wiiers might have to help me on that one, but I think in the context of Wii, this one gets a fair amount of praise too. So, I don't know. Maybe Grumble? Absolutely not Grumble. I think Grumble gets a lot of praise from the community as well. Not me, but from the community as well.
Back to desert tracks, because apparently that's like my secret Mario Kart track design kink or something.
Hey, listen. Is this a classic case of the writer's barely described fetish? Is that what this is? Unbelievable, lads. Is that Drewski Rose? Drewski Rose! Help your boy out! Someone else needs help! Help your guy!
Dry Ruins.
He started off so well. He started off so well. But as far as I'm concerned, he's losing. He's losing this fight 7-2. 7-2. This is unreal behavior here, chat.
Is literally right there. Seriously, not to keep harping on retro tracks that deserve to be brought back, but come on. I've been passionate about this track for a while now. But I even made a whole—
Again, like, a track not being brought back doesn't make it underrated. I don't think that can make your only— You can make it a point. I don't think it can be your only point. No. It's— Even when it does get talked about, or the context in which it would get talked about, does it get overlooked? That's one of the big things I'm looking for, right? In the context of 8, yes, Bone Dry Dunes gets overlooked a lot. And if you could easily, in fact, I would agree that it's in fact an underrated gem. Mario Circuit, I was a bit hesitant to, but I think you put forward a good point. I'm like, do you know what? Fair. I see what you're saying. I could see you saying this is an underrated gem in the 8 version specifically. These ones, no. Like, I think generally in the context of the conversations around them, these ones get talked up a fair bit. And these ones are just straight up ass. You're straight up wrong, brother. I'm going to be honest with you. This one, brother, you're not being the allegations. That's what I'm saying. You can't be doing this. Okay, you can't be doing this. I am the final boss of underrated. You can't be doing this.
Video dissecting it.
His analysis has been good, but his clarifications of underrated. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, in all fairness, praise be damned. I think he's definitely offered a good case for every single one of these. Not one that I agree with personally, but he's definitely offered a good case. So this isn't a case of he said something is underrated and he talks a bunch of shit. You know, at least he's making sense. I just don't agree. I just think the premise of what you're saying is fundamentally flawed.
Sorry for the plug, but yeah, my opinion hasn't really—
A second plug! That's 2 now! Hey, listen, if he gets to do it twice, I get to do it twice. Where's my one? Hey, subscribe! Hey, guys, look at where's the graph? Do I have a graph? I don't think I have graph. I have thing, though. I have thing. Look at it, 32! Only 32 likes! That is disgusting behavior. Only 32 in my live stream. Really? Really, gamers. Unbelievable. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. All of you guys, right now. Unbelievable.
This is the definitive Mario Kart desert track. Unlike so many other desert courses that just feel like flat, open wastelands, this one has a dynamic layout that changes with each lap.
Dislike, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Making it feel alive in a way that most
50,
other
that's a
tracks
bit better,
don't.
game. That's
And
a bit better.
the
What
strategy is absolutely wild. This track is loaded with shortcuts and intricate routes, and it's honestly kind of concerning how many advanced strategies competitive players have found to squeeze every possible advantage out of the
A third time competitive's been mentioned. A third time!
course.
Unbelievable.
Whether it's taking tight
Unbelievable.
sand cuts or literally
Oh, is this that TWD guy, by the way? Is this the TWD guy that you guys like so much? Yeah, he looks. I like the haircut. I give him props for the haircut. The haircut looks really nice.
doing a wall
kinda jealous.
glitch thing where you just trick into the inside of a wall inside the ruins. It's just out of this world. But even outside of the competitive scene, the theming is just top tier. The massive Sphinx statue.
Hang on now. Hold on. Don't compliment the TikTok haircut. Okay, Cardboard, I'm not joking. I will unban you if you post a picture of your haircut in the Discord. I'm not having it. No, absolutely not. Hey, are you telling me this trim don't look fine? This trim looks fine. Are you joking me? Are you gonna really rag on this fine shite haircut? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I'm so sorry, Mr. Troy, that you had to hear that. Your haircut looks fire. Show me a picture of your haircut, otherwise you're cooked. You're never coming back in my chat again. Disgusting behavior.
Statues and the way the sand gradually fills up the temple, and even that transition from racing in the open desert into navigating the interior of an ancient pyramid, it all makes for a visually and
If your haircut is bad, I will unban you. Just to clarify, if your haircut is bad, I will unban you and I'll mod you. You will be a mod for a week. But until then, get out my chat.
mechanically engaging track from start to finish. Finally, to round out this
N64 Bowser Castle. I'm willing to be swayed. Maybe. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tempted to just put this here, but I'm just like, maybe. Guys, I'll give him a chance. You're running on thin ice, Mr. Dean. I really am. Because again, in the context of BCs, I would say this one gets talked up because it's like got the best atmosphere. Even I said it. Like atmospherically, it's fantastic. As an obstacle course, it's phenomenal. Especially the original one. I think it's like easily one of my favorite tracks to play in N64, 100%. So if we're talking the context of N64, this is one of the very few good ones. If we're talking the context of Bowser's Castle, I think this one definitely gets talked up for the atmosphere. And if we're talking maybe in Wii, you could say, and then Marty, of course, we've got Marty Law, and then maybe in Wii, maybe you could say in Wii it doesn't like get as much praise as it probably deserves. And rightfully so. I think in Wii it's not as good. Still solid, but not as good. It's gonna be a hard sell. I'll be real with you. Because I think this is correctly rated in that, hey, it's actually really solid in N64 and pretty good in Wii.
video, let's talk about Bowser's Castle, but not just any Bowser's Castle, the first good one. Back in the days,
And I've been told that in Wii it gets picked a lot online as well, so even amongst Wii stands, it's looking favorable, I would say.
when Nintendo loved making 4 different mediocre Bowser Castle tracks per game, Mario Kart 64 gave us one that actually stood out. And as time has gone on, I think this track is seriously underrated.
What makes you say that, brother? What makes you say that? Again, not even a... I don't know if this is the final. Hang on. He said 10. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 10th. Not a single SNES track. Or Super Circuit. I feel like those are the 2 games that like you could really like push for like underrated status. Obviously, in GBA's case, it's like near impossible for me. I'm too nostalgia poisoned. But like, there are some good cases for like GBA or SNES tracks. 100%. None of them though.
Both the original,
Maybe even Tour Cities. Some of them maybe you could argue are underrated too. Maybe. Whole archetypes of tracks just missed. Whole games just missed.
and the Mario Kart Wii remake are great, especially in Wii with inside drifting mechanics, but for the sake of this video, I want to focus on the original version. The biggest thing that stands out about this track today is its atmosphere. Most 3D Bowser's Castle tracks go for bombastic, over-the-top spectacle.
I agree.
You've got wild heavy metal riffs in Mario Kart 8, fireballs soaring past you in Mario Kart Wii, you get the point. But in Mario Kart 64's Bowser's Castle, it's eerily quiet. Sure, there are some thwomps moving around and a few leaping fireballs, waterfalls, but for the most part, this track feels weirdly vacant. And honestly, that makes it even scarier than any other Bowser's Castle track in a series. Much like Banshee Boardwalk, this track's emptiness is exactly what makes it unsettling. And then there's the music. Instead of a high-energy rock anthem, we got this chilling, choir-like arrangement that feels haunting in the best way possible. It makes the track feel less like a chaotic lava fortress and more like an abandoned dungeon that you shouldn't really be racing through. And despite being dominated by straightaways, it's still a lot of fun to race on. So while every other Bowser's Castle is about absolutely wild spectacle, and there's nothing wrong with that, Mario Kart 64's version is just about an unsettling atmosphere that makes it unique. So yeah, that's just my dumbass opinion on what the
underselling your opinion as well. Unbelievable.
most underrated tracks in Mario Kart are. But what about you? Which tracks do you think deserve more love and why?
Again, I think you gave it a good show, Dean. I think you gave it a good show, because I think while your barometer for, I would say no, I'm burning it down here. While your barometer for underrated is definitely not aligned with what I would say the general, the worst part is I think you gave a very good explanation for what underrated means in your intro. I think that's what disappoints me a little about this, right? That you gave a very good definition. So I was like, okay, maybe this is, and you started off so well, like with the track choice. You even convinced me on Mario Circuit. I think you genuinely could. I would have put it here personally. I would have said maybe, but like, I think you convinced me on Mario Circuit. But again, you're smarter than the chat, because you got some people saying BC4 when it's not an underrated gem. Get out. So you did better than some of my chat as well with that dumbass, baroque ass takes. But it's just that I think this is a case of, have you interacted with the Mario Kart community that much? I wouldn't say I have, which is why I probably wouldn't make a video like this, because I don't think I'm as plugged in enough to make a video like this. Or maybe I am because of my Discord, there's a lot of people. But when it comes to a video like this, underrated is like due to perception. Does that make sense? Not only yours, but the community as a whole. So if you're going to make a video on underrated, I think you have to like take into account what the general consensus among the populace is. When it comes to Bone Dry Dunes, I think you absolutely make a good case. Mario Circuit, I think you absolutely make a good case. I think in the case of these ones, I'm personally not convinced. Whoops. And I think in these ones, I think these are just hard L's, like absolutely hard defined L's. This one doesn't get talked about because it's shit. This one gets talked about a lot. This one gets talked about a lot, and this one also gets talked about a lot. So interesting video. I like the analysis. I like your analysis is spot on. In a different type of video, I feel like you could definitely shine. But in this one, with a score of 8-2, it's safe to say it's curtains for you. And that's the Sir Musty wrap.
Drop your picks in the comments and let's see which ones people are sleeping on the most. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace out.
Peace out. I got a standard 5 out of 10 intro, pretty generic with your peace out. But overall, gamers, I think you know I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him, gamers. I'm rooting for him. Was I a little harsh? I'm rooting for you, Mr. Dean. I'm rooting for you. What else have you got for me? What else have you got? Did you do top 10 overrated tracks? By any chance? Well, I mean, he seems to be doing his thing, right? Like, it's got some interesting video concepts here. Predicting the next 3D game. When a game becomes too easy, about Mario Wonder, presumably, or like Woolly World. What caused the consoles of it? We got some. He's doing his bit. He's on the grind. He's on the grind. You know what? I believe in you. I don't know. Blue Sky, actually. Blue Sky? I don't know, actually. I might have to. I don't know. Too woke for me. But no, you know what? I'll give him a subscription. 100%. He seems to be on his grind. He's back on his grinds. A psychic read your lifeline and told me that your name would light up the Chicago skyline, Mr. Dean. So keep it up, brother. Keep it up. Should we go Bravo 6? I think we should. Let's have a look at the comments. Let's see what the comments have to say, huh? Was it any of your woke maxing in 2025? Listen, that's my secret, Ori. I've always been woke. I've always loved women. We love women, don't we, chat? God, love Double Dash. Mushroom City is so fire. Yeah, but it's not underrated, though, is it? It's so good. It is good. Underrated, though? The GOAT himself? True. Underrated YouTuber. I'd actually go. Do you know what? If Mr. Dean was on this list, I'm going to use Mario Circuit to represent Mr. Dean. I would say Mr. Dean is an underrated chip. Definitely. Moonview Highway is extremely... I mean, if what's it? If I'm going to use not Cheeseland. If I want to use Wario Stadium to represent your comment section, I think your comment section is an overrated flop. Definitely an overrated flop. I remember Moonview Highway on my low old brightness TV. I couldn't see the vehicles passing by, so I got pummeled. That's pretty funny. I'll give it a like. Average Moonview, true. I love DS tracks, TBH. Down vote. I hate them all. Oh, is he a DS Scrimbly as well? Is he a DS Scrimbly? From My Goat Cafe Charlie. Do you know him? Is he one of yours? Is he one of yours? Oh, down voting. I can't believe it. 3DS and a mug of Joe? I can't believe this. What's up, Hasbro? Hello, gamer. How you doing? I remember when they added gliders, I low-key stopped playing LOL. It was a classic no profile picture L. Classic. Love the honesty. Oh, man. Bowser Kart 60 was one of my favorite tracks. I wish Nintendo brought it back in future Mario Kart games. It was already in fucking Wii. What do you mean? Even he said it. I know. Hey, listen. At least unlike fucking, I love when YouTubers say haha. I'm glad you agree, Alphonse. There's something about a haha that makes me laugh. Like you could just go lol or lamau, or like, or was it sob? You could add like the Zoomer equivalent is like just the sob emoji. But like haha. In my head, I cannot read that without going, haha. I can't read it any other way. It's supposed to be like, it's probably supposed to be like that, right? But in my head, it's just, haha. It always is. I don't know why. So I read this. Love the honesty. Haha. Always. By the way, Mr. Dean, you know what? I'm rooting for you, brother. As I'm sure, as what always happens whenever I react to someone, I will be seeing you soon enough because a bunch of people in my Discord will probably recommend more of your videos. So we'll be in touch, okay? My people will talk to your people, brother. And we will leave that there. On the Under Armour, this is your final score. And we'll leave it there, gamers. We'll leave it there.